This is a steal for the Buccaneers. The trade deadline is coming up November 4th, and the Bucs are looking for any help they can get with the injuries stacking up, some lack of production from maybe a specific offensive position group. It's starting to really get a little desperate, and maybe it's time to turn to one of Baker's old friends for that reinforcement. I'm Sebastian with Buccaneers Digest. Welcome back, everybody. We're getting closer and closer to Saints versus Bucs week 8. We're this close to the bye week, which typically I don't look forward to, only because it's like, oh, we don't get Bucs football that week, but it's so desperately needed for this team just to try and get healthy and everything. And anyway, this is kind of what we're talking about in this video, a new trade proposal, and it's something that's been actually heavily rumored and talked about in the past few weeks, and I've been avoiding talking about it until recently, where I was like, okay, this might actually be something that the Buccaneers are considering. So first, subscribe, all that good stuff. We hit 2,500, which was awesome, and I'm so very thankful to have that. But now it's, we're going for the big one. We're going for the big 5K, and the first way to do that is to get to 3K. So let's keep stacking it up, and but I'm really excited to try and get to 5K by mid-season. We'll see how it goes. Obviously, it took us some time to get us to 2.5K, but I'm very proud of the community here. Really have been enjoying the live streams, and we'll be live streaming the Saints game, obviously, this Sunday. It's a 4 o'clock game, weirdly enough, but we'll be here for that. Saints Hate Week is underway and ongoing currently, so join us in that. But let's talk about what today's video is about, because it's actually an interesting one. And you saw kind of the thumbnail, you saw the pictures in the intro. Yes, we are talking about none other than Mark Andrews, someone who has been talked. I mean, he was in the best tight end of the league conversation a few years back, kind of competing with Travis Kelce, but now obviously fallen off a little bit. His numbers aren't as good. He's I think just turned 30 or 31. He's in that older age range for players, but at the same time, very consistent and knows how to play ball. He's played for a great organization like the Ravens for a long time now. It's just a matter of, okay, this season it's not going very well for them. They're 1-5. They're facing the Bears this week, and if they drop to 1-6, it's basically season over. You could already argue maybe their season's already over, but at that point they will definitely become sellers at the trade deadline and kind of look to next year to try and regroup. But Mark Andrews, he probably wants to take another shot at the Super Bowl. That drop that happened against the Bills last season has probably been haunting him ever since, and so now he's looking for a new opportunity to redeem himself, which might not happen this year. Christopher Knox from Bleacher Report, he said that, like a few names on our board, he is a player for whom the timing might be for a change of scenery. He turned 30 in September and will be a free agent in 2026. The Ravens have a younger tight end in Isaiah Likely, who will also be a free agent in the spring, and are likely to favor the latter if they re-sign either of them. Baltimore is also coming out of its bye week at 1-5, and with rapidly fading playoff hopes, Andrews would probably only interest teams with realistic playoff aspirations, like the Buccaneers. But he could be a solid contributor to a passing attack. His numbers are down early this season, as they were last year. He still finished 2024 with 55 catches, 673 yards, and 11 touchdowns, which, if we got those numbers from a tight end, we haven't seen stuff like that since like Gronkowski. We would be over the moon getting that kind of production from a tight end like Cade Otton. We'll talk about him in a little bit, but it's not nearly the production we've been kind of hoping for. Matt Boland from ESPN had to say the 3-time Pro Bowler, being Mark Andrews, is a tried and true Raven. Baltimore is still holding out faith that it can make a playoff run despite the 1-5 start. But shipping pass rusher Adolphe Owe to the Chargers surprised many around the league, and the franchise seems open to at least evaluating the future of key veterans. Andrews' play speed has declined, but he can still operate underneath, using his coverage awareness to make himself available to the quarterback. Plus, Andrews can be schemed on seams and wheel routes. So the big kind of one of the big reasons why also Andrews is being paired to the Buccaneers as a trade partner is, one, obviously we are a contending team, going to be hopefully deep in the playoff race. But Baker and Mark Andrews played with each other at Oklahoma. They were an awesome connection. There was that game that was against Mahomes, the Texas Tech versus Oklahoma game, an iconic shootout. Mark Andrews was part of that. So it's really cool to have this idea of them reunite like much later in their careers. And it's just be an awesome pairing. I love like this mock up of. I mean, Andrews really does look like he looks good in a Buccaneers uniform. So it's now it's like, okay, so they have this experience with each other. They have this camaraderie. They have the chemistry, and just like any other player duo, they would be able to like, okay, pick it back up where they left off. Hopefully, even though it's been a little while, they'd be like, okay, let's try and make this work. So I don't see a way that Baker would be like, no, I don't want this to happen. Andrews probably still has a lot left in the tank. It's just that he's been working with backup quarterbacks for most of the season. That's why they're 1-5. It's not to be really Andrews' fault at all. It's just a matter of, okay, the situation there is a bit dire with their injury, so he'd be coming to another team that's dealing with injuries. But maybe in the sense of like, okay, I actually can really contribute to a winning team here, and another team with a great culture. So I actually think this fit beyond just the two of them having this chemistry is really, really good. Cade Otton, I love the guy. I respect him. He is in a contract here trying to make things work. Right now he has 31 targets for 22 receptions, 0 touchdowns on the year, and 231 yards. His yards per reception, 10.5. So his biggest game it was against Detroit, and it's like, okay, I don't know. It seemed. I mean, listen, the stolen reception that turned into an interception, the non-first down that they listen. There was a lot of things that were associated with Cade Otton in that game that were not so good ref wise. But he seemed to be a heavy target in that sense. You go down without Mike Evans. It was like the Tez Johnson and Cade Otton show. Weirdly, did not feature Emeka Egbuka much. Anytime it was thrown his way, it was like overthrown. Just an off game for Baker, totally. But listen. When someone has chemistry with Baker, their production goes up like crazy. I mean, Emeka and Baker have amazing chemistry already. You can tell that's going to be an awesome duo for us for a long time. But why not bring in a veteran guy, a veteran presence who has like insane playoff game experience as well? He knows what it's like to not perform in the clutch. I know that sounds weird. It's like, listen, he failed on the big stage. He had the fumble and he had the drop. And that definitely is a huge motivator. Look at Jalen Hurts when he lost the Super Bowl to the Chiefs 2 years later. I mean, he had that the picture of him on his phone screen, his lock screen, of him walking away in the red and yellow confetti when the Chiefs won the Super Bowl. And he's used that as motivation. I believe Mark Andrews is enough of a veteran and a professional that he could use that experience that happened in that game, the drop and on 2-point conversion particularly, where it's like, listen, I let my team down. I know that everyone's going to say it was a team thing, that they shouldn't have been in that position in the first place, but it's weighing on him, as any athlete who's in that situation would probably feel that way. So now why not bring him to a player that he's familiar with, and let it rip, man? Because listen, I'm not saying that Cade wouldn't be a solid starter rest of the way. I'm just saying that the production is a bit concerning, considering we've been down in the wide receiver area and he's still not getting a lot of targets. It feels like just something's off in that area, and it's not like a listen. I don't think Andrews would be a dominant tight end. I think those years are past him, but the experience would very much be worth it. Gronkowski wasn't in his prime when he came to the Buccaneers, and yet he was extremely, extremely helpful when it came to just having that big game experience in the playoffs. And so I think that his value there is actually tremendous. Changes in scenery can really do a lot for a player's motivation. And he probably wouldn't mind being a Raven for life, but when you're this close to the end of your career and you're on a team that's on a sinking ship, just in terms of they're having a lot of questions about their coaching staff, the health of their defense, just what their offensive coordinator is doing, Lamar and his health, it becomes kind of like this thing of like, okay, what do we do here? Is this something that we can remedy? And I do think that Mark Andrews would not mind playing with Baker again. They seem to get along pretty well. These pictures between the two of them look really, really cool. So listen. Question is for you guys: how do you feel about Mark Andrews coming to the Buccaneers? The projections that we saw seemed to be like about a 5th-round pick that it would take to get him. So do you think that would be worth it to get a guy like Mark Andrews? Personally, that sounds like it's right up Jason Light's alley, trading a late round draft pick to get an experienced professional ball player who a lot of people in the locker room respect, and someone that Baker has chemistry with. But yeah, I feel like that's good, but you can let me know, okay, is this something that you would see working, or maybe not worth it. Let's go for a bigger name or a guy who can contribute more in like the defense or something. Like let's not throw too much of the offense. We have guys coming back from injury, stuff like that. I do want to hear what you guys have to say about this because it's I've seen pictures of Mark on the Buccaneers, a lot of these mock-up drafts or sorry trades, all over the internet. So I am interested to see what people think because the more I think about it, the more I like it, and that's just how we're getting closer and closer to the trade deadline coming up in a couple weeks, and there's going to be a lot of moves starting to be made pretty soon. It'll be interesting to watch the Ravens versus Bears game this weekend. If they lose that game, I do believe that they will become sellers, and Mark Andrews to the Bucs will become a very strong possibility. So anyway, let me know what you should think, and I will see you guys for the next video.